The Spirit of the Game is brought to you by Notinis.
Good morning. We are here outside CE Byrd High School. We are here just a little bit early as practice has not started yet, but we're here to talk about the health implications behind why schools are starting to practice earlier in the morning. We all live here and we all know how hot it gets, especially after listening to Brian's forecast. We know the highs and the lows, and what a good time for the kids to come out and getting some good work in when it's a little bit cooler out. It has a lot more health implications. The CDC actually states that over 9,000 kids a year come down with either health, heat, or illness when it comes to practicing outside in the afternoon. So making sure that those kids are staying hydrated and practicing in these cooler temperatures is huge. But it also means a lot more for the coaches. I was able to speak to the head coach of Byrd High School football, Coach Blue, and he was able to talk about what it means to the coaches that the kids are able to get up this early.
And we've got a good group of kids that they're dedicated. They understand that they've got to go home and rest. They've got to rehydrate. And then they got to get up, and they're calling each other at 5:15 and 5:30 in the morning. They're calling each other and making sure they're all awake. They're going by and picking each other up, and they're getting here, and they're doing a great job.
Now, back in my heyday, I actually ran Division I track and field, so I know all about what it takes at practicing and competing at the highest level. And this was one thing that we did every single day. Monday through Saturday, basically, we would wake up super early around 5:30 and get our 10-mile run in. And you see that they're building and fostering that level of competition and that level of dedication early in these student athletes. And I think that's so important. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more to show. Nate, I know that you're a Little League coach. Let's see, is that something that you look for in your kids as well?
Really good question, buddy. Yeah, typically when it comes to dealing with the heat, try to keep them out of the direct sun as much as possible. So that's why, we kind of push it, in addition to school and things like that, push it towards the 6, maybe 6:30, as late as we can. But it's tough. It's tough with kids. You don't want to wait too long because then they got to wake up early the next day to go to school, and
they're falling asleep in the outfield.
Yes.
Can't have that.
But hey, this really is an important issue, Taylor. Thanks a lot for tackling this. We know it's football time, and we want all of our athletes to stay safe too.
Good morning, Brian. Hey, thanks for that forecast. You're right. It is going to be hot and humid this afternoon. That's why Byrd High School student athletes are taking advantage of morning practice. Those heat numbers are no joke. We all live in this area. We all know how it gets getting into your car after work, and it is blazing hot on those seats. It is kind of bad for the kids to get out and practice during that time. That was an amazing one-hand catch. Got to shout that out real quick. But no, the CDC states that over 9,000 student athletes every single year come down with heat-related injuries and illnesses just due to practicing outside every single day throughout the week, whether it's football, whether you're going out and you're playing lacrosse or any outdoor sports, soccer, cross country, track, different things like that. You are outside putting in work, typically after school when it is the hottest part of the day. We were also able to talk to Coach Blue, the head coach of Byrd High School football, who talks about what it means to the coaches that these students are getting up early as well.
And we've got a good group of kids that they're dedicated. They understand that they've got to go home and rest. They've got to rehydrate. And then they got to get up, and they're calling each other at 5:15 and 5:30 in the morning. They're calling each other and making sure they're all awake. They're going by and picking each other up, and they're getting here, and they're doing a great job.
No, Coach is exactly right when he speaks about hydration and how important that is, especially when you're talking about the early stages of being a student athlete. Waking up and making sure that you're getting in at least 2 to 3 bottles in of water if you have afternoon practices. But hydration just doesn't start the day of, it starts the day before as well. I know when I was running cross country and track in college, I was hydrating for an entire week before I would race. And so that is just how important hydration is. But no, the dedication and everything is also super, super, super important. These coaches look for things like that. Kids showing up to early morning practices, helping carrying equipment down, getting here early, staying late. That is what you want to see from your athlete. It is showing responsibility. It shows everything that you want to see, especially as a coach, right? So waking up early, it has its plus sides from the health, it has its plus sides from getting more playing time from the coaches, and it's just an overall good thing to do. I know, Nate, definitely when you're out there with your kids, you're definitely looking for the kids that are staying late after practice to hit a couple extra balls off the tee. Hey, Brian, yes, we are talking kind of about the same thing here, the weather and how that is affecting these student athletes and how they are practicing here in the morning. So yes, it is super hot right now in the Architects, as we just heard Brian mention, and these kids are kind of getting ahead of that, and they are coming to early morning practices here at Byrd High School to get away from that heat. The CDC says over 9,000 student athletes a year get heat-related illness or injury just by practicing outside in the heat way too much. And so Coach Blue, the high school football coach for Byrd High School, I was able to talk to him. We talked about the effects of the heat and how that plays a role into when they're deciding to practice, but also the dedication that these kids are showing in waking up and getting out here to practice this early in the morning.
And we've got a good group of kids that they're dedicated. They understand that they've got to go home and rest. They've got to rehydrate, and then they got to get up, and they're calling each other at 5:15 and 5:30 in the morning. They're calling each other and making sure they're all awake. They're going by and picking each other up, and they're getting here, and they're doing a great job.
Now, a big part of that is making sure the athlete is prepared for game day. And hydration was one of those key points that Coach just mentioned. And I remember as an athlete myself, waking up and hydrating. I would hydrate for weeks at a time before my preparation date, which would typically be the same as a high school football, a Saturday, Sunday, a weekend event. You want to be hydrating starting Monday, especially with how hot it can get here in Louisiana, or if you're anywhere in the Architects. I know that Coach is big on these kids showing up and keeping each other accountable, making sure that you're getting up early, working hard to make sure that you can be a best part of the team you can be. I know that it's such a big, as we see we even got the cart girls coming out and giving these kids water and keeping them hydrated. And it's only, like Brian said, it's only 70s, 80s right now, and hydration is still such a big part of their game plan, and I think that is so cool. I know that Nate and I have talked about a little bit this morning about the role in which, making sure kids are staying hydrated and make sure we're taking breaks and things while the sun comes up. I know is super important. But how about that ambition, Nate? This is a full football team that has come out here. I was expecting maybe 20 kids. This is a legit 40 to 50 kids out here that woke up, were all on time. I didn't see a single kid run through that gate, or maybe coach just told them not to come if they're late, but they are all here and are all on time. This looks like a good football team. Good morning, Brian. You heard the man himself, 93, 94. That is hot here in the Architects. I know it can get hotter, but CE Byrd High School is taking advantage of the early morning cool temperatures and getting out here for a little morning practice. According to the CDC, over 9,000 student athletes every year get either a heat related injury or illness when it comes to just practicing outside, and especially here in the Architects, we know it gets hot, it gets humid. When we go outside, especially, I know when I get off work, I go to my car and I sit on those leather seats, and it burns my legs sometimes if I'm not wearing pants. We've all been there. But so getting these kids out early is a huge deal. They're getting in huge work, a lot of work, and it's been great. We were able to talk to Coach Blue about just how much it means to the coaches that these kids are able to get out and work, especially early in the morning.
And we've got a good group of kids that they're dedicated. They understand that they've got to go home and rest. They've got to rehydrate, and then they got to get up, and they're calling each other at 5:15 and 5:30 in the morning. They're calling each other and making sure they're all awake. They're going by and picking each other up, and they're getting here, and they're doing a great job.
Now, one of the most key points that Coach just typed in was hydration, right? It is so important for kids to be drinking water. I mean, I remember as an athlete, I would probably start hydrating a week before my scheduled event. Now, I ran cross country and track, and I ran a lot, okay? And so being able to stay hydrated is a little different, but football, it's not that different. We saw girls earlier bringing through giant carts so kids can come through, and they have little squirt guns. I'm saying squirt gun, I don't really know what the exact term is, but they're sticking up and they're able to drink. I mean, it's keep hydrated all throughout practice. It's been a great time, but on top of that, it's the dedication, right? These kids are waking up and keeping each other accountable, and as we see, this is a full roster that is out here this morning. I mean, these kids all woke up. Not a single one of them was late, by the way. I wanted to really pinpoint that and show just how great this team was, especially this morning. I don't know if Coach said anything about TV being here, but we were watching and not a single one came through those gates late. They're holding each other accountable. They're getting work in early, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a fun and exciting time to see what they do in the season. I know that Nate, Shannon, and I will hopefully be able to get out to a game and watch some high school football together this season.